Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with The Last Huntsman Outdoors here. Keep it warm next to the fire. It's like 10 degrees out here, so it's kind of cold. But I have a knife that was sent to me by a good friend and now a knife maker, and he has a YouTube channel as well, so be sure to check him out. But the knife was made by John with Heavy Set Tactical. His brand's going to be Heavy Set Knives, and this is what he calls thus far the S45 Hunter. Now, I want to kind of lay something out too. This is a prototype, so he's going to be making maybe slight little changes to it. I'm going to be kind of giving some recommendations on it, and you know, these might come in different steels and stuff. He's a new maker, so he's trying to kind of get his mojo on it, I guess you could say. But kind of let's just take a look at it right off the bat. Look at that. Super awesome. Let's check this knife out. All right, so here is the Heavy Set Knives S45 Hunter is what he calls this knife. And what he wanted this knife to be was a good, just little belt hunting little camp knife, which I actually think right off the bat, it fits that role perfectly. Like I said, this is just a prototype, so these kind of might vary and they'll be a little different maybe in the future. And I'm going to kind of test and review this knife and give some recommendations of like things that I might potentially change with it. It has like about a 3 3/4 to 4 inch blade, has decently long handle. I don't got a ruler out here. I'll try to give you guys more specific measurements and stuff, but I will say it kind of offhand, it's bigger than like an SE4 for sure. So it kind of give you guys a size reference. So the sheath that it came with is a Badger Claw Outfitters leather sheath. I absolutely love these sheaths. I actually think that's a kind of a good match for it. The only thing is, it does sit just a little deep. He didn't quite have a sheath that fit this quite yet, so you know, he's still trying to figure things out, and he's also working on his Kydex game, so eventually these might even have Kydex with them, or like one of these. But he's also getting some other sheaths that will, like, this won't sit in so deep like this. Let's get using this knife. Okay, as customary on my channel, we're going to start off with some batoning. Now, this is only like a 4-inch blade, and it's only 1/8 of an inch thick. It's not like super thick or anything. It's not meant to be like some super heavy batoner, but it does have kind of a mid-saber grind on it. So let's just try it out here. Now, this is a really knotty piece of cedar, so right through that knot. Probably should have picked something a little easier to start with, but you know, it's kind of how I do things on my channel sometimes. If it wouldn't be sinking into the ground so much. Okay, we're gonna just... Okay, so I did kind of get it stuck in there, but it's still holding up just fine. Let's try to find a little bit more manageable piece here. Like I said, this ain't gonna be like some super batoner or anything like that, but I like to kind of try things out. I was trying to go big or go home with it too quickly. For stuff within its capability, it does pretty good. All right, so this ain't going to be like some heavy chopping knife. It's not going to be some like heavy batoner, even though it's tough enough to handle that. I got it even stuck in a knot, and it still, the edge is just perfect. I don't have the most experience with S45. I feel like it's kind of one of those steels that kind of got overlooked. I think MagnaCut craze kind of overshadowed it. But we're going to just do some slicing here. That's kind of where I think this knife, oh yeah, this knife is very slicey. We're going to test the ergonomics too. I'm kind of doing that Ninja death grip. Actually, I'll even take the glove off just to kind of really get a good feel for it. I'm going to straight up say, John, the handle ergonomics on this, you knocked it out of the park with this. You guys know I've tested out a lot of handles and knives and stuff like that. And this is probably legit one of the most comfortable handles I have ever used on my channel. This thing just fits my hand perfectly. If more knife companies had a similar handle to this, it'd be a great world, honestly. This knife handle is just so freaking perfect. And it's a very slicey blade. Even with that kind of mid 2/3 kind of height saber grind, it's still a very slicey blade. This knife is just a very enjoyable knife to use out here in the woods. I'm gonna just try to do some notches. Usually I just baton notches, but this handle is so good on this knife. I'm just gonna try to kind of push cut it. Let's see if I can get me a little square notch in there. Great little square notch. Let's see if I could do something for like a tent stake real quick. Awesome. This knife is just such a fun knife to use. I'm going to test that S45VN out. I'm going to do some cross grain batoning here. Usually if the edge is too thin or not heat treated well, cross grain batoning is where you'll see it. Get a little bit bigger piece. Oh, that kind of split that whole piece all up. Held up just fine. It's perfect. All right, got some rope out here. I'm starting to run out of rope. I need to buy some more rope just for testing purposes. I'm just gonna do some slicing here. And it's just going through it like it's nothing. This is frozen rope too. It's completely saturated and has frost all over it and stuff, so it's a little more tougher to cut than usual. But this knife's handling it like a champ. Another thing I'm going to try out with the S45 Hunter by Heavyset Knives. I'm just going to try that sharp spine out. See if I can. Oh yeah, it scrapes pretty good. This fluff ain't really going to be good for anything because it's all wet and mush, but if this was a dry piece of wood, it'd still do pretty good. All right, that's all good. Let's try the ferro rod out here. See if I already got a fire going, so I'm not really going to worry about building another fire with this thing for now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at those sparks, baby. Hell, this is all wet. Maybe we'll give it a try anyway. See if I can just shower it with enough sparks. If anything, I can make a smoke screen out of it. Yeah, this is too wet to even get started, but the sharp spine works absolutely amazing on here. All right, so this is going to be just a quick initial kind of first kind of hands-on review here, and I kind of wanted to try to get this out so I could kind of make some suggestions here for John with Heavyset Tactical. Right off the bat, I'm going to say the fit, finish, and quality of this is top-notch. I absolutely love it for that reason. And one of the things I also really liked is he bead blasted these micarta scales here, which is perfect. That's like pure freaking like olive oil Italian, because that's what John is. You know, he's pure olive oil Italian. He's not one of them fake canola oil ones. But man, that's like perfect. I like that texture. I hate when people does micarta scales and then like polishes them and makes them like too smooth. It's like, what kind of soy boy hands do you got? Okay, we like some texture on our handles. So the handles and the ergonomics is perfect. Like, this is honestly one of the best ergonomic handles I've ever held. If like John copied this handle design for like a lot of different knives and had like different blade profiles and stuff, that would be perfect. I really like it. I like that it has a deep guard. This thing would actually make kind of a decent little like small soldier knife if it had more of like a Kydex sheath. It index is really good, and I like that deep guard. Your hand's not going to slip on it, and that is absolutely amazing. A couple things that I would potentially change on it. So he's still getting his sheath game down. He just sent this with me to try out and test out, but he's going to be trying to either get like some smaller leather sheaths for these and or do some Kydex. I would like to see Kydex, although if I'm gonna pick a leather sheath, Badger Claw Outfitters is honestly one of my favorite leather makers. So with the knife though, I've always found that this is kind of a weird size for me. If I'm out in the woods, I generally like something a little bit bigger, and if I want something to EDC, I want something a little smaller. So this is kind of like that, like 4.5 inch kind of blade size, and I've always found that that's just kind of a weird blade size for me. So he already has the EDC 3, so if I was going to make one suggestion, I would say scale this model up a little bit. Like maybe scale up the handles just a little bit more, widen up the blade, and give it about an extra 1.5 to 2 inches, and make it more like that solid camp knife. I think that would be like absolutely freaking perfect, and it would, I'd call it the Hunter XL. I would still do the Hunter because I think a lot of people will like this before, or a lot of people would like this sizing. So I would still produce this one, but also have an XL version of it. That's my personal opinion. The only other thing I would maybe potentially change is he has a lanyard hole. I'm not a big lanyard guy, but a lot of people are. But I would size up that lanyard just a little bit more, because it's going to be like really hard to get any kind of like 550 cord through there. So I'd make that lanyard hole a little bit bigger and maybe even chamfer the edges of it. I think that would be really cool. Do a little bit more notching here with the S45 Hunter prototype from John with Heavyset Tactical. Usually I use a baton and notch, but I'm down here at the creek instead of at my normal shelter, so I'm just doing it by hand here. I'm putting a lot of pressure down on the handle. It's not cramping my hand up or anything like that to do that. let's change you guys up just a little bit. There you guys go. Get a little better scene there. Bear with all the water noise. Just got creek coming from this way and going through a little waterfall over there. But I like this spot, so I'm making a great little notch right there. All right, I'm sitting next to my creek here. I kind of like the backdrop, but there might be a little extra water noise, so bear with me here. And I don't got a mic and all that good stuff. YouTube doesn't pay me enough for that kind of crap. But I'm going to wrap up the review on the Heavyset Knife Co. Hunter. This one's the S45VN model. Now, this is just a prototype. There's going to be a couple more things that he's going to kind of refine on it. One of the things that I kind of pointed out is I felt like this edge and this here need to be kind of touched up a little bit, more rounded off here and here. However, the handle on this, the rest of the handle is like absolutely perfect. It feels just great in hand, and this thing is just super slicey. This is just the joy of a knife to use. So I can tell like a lot of bushcrafters and outdoorsmen and hunters and stuff are gonna really enjoy this knife. He's also, from my recommendation, going to make like more of a camp knife size of this. This is kind of like a small belt knife is what I would consider this as, but he's gonna make more of like a 6-inch blade of this with a wider blade, just a little bit bigger handle on it and stuff, but it's gonna still be like this same overall profile, make it a little thicker stock. I think that's gonna be really fun to use. And so be sure to check out John with Heavyset Knife Co. I'm gonna, when I get a chance, I will make a post or video or something about his website and when his drop is gonna be, because he's gonna be trying to do a big drop of several of his knives on his first big drop. So I'll try to keep you guys posted on that. But as always, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless and carry on.